live. I'm just waiting for some audience to start coming in.
Are we live?
We are live.
I think we're live. Hello everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're just going to give it a little bit longer just so that we've got a few more people coming into the stream. Great.
Wow, we are actually live. Okay, good.
All right, well, we're going to kick things off. So, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I am Ailish from Electroheads, if you don't know who I am. And this is...
Mark Schaffer from PET.
Personal Electric Transport, if you don't know. They are a good friends of ours and also retailers of personal light electric vehicles, including e-scooters, which is the topic of today. So, as you may have seen, we have a big announcement to make today. And Mark is obviously a big part of that. So Mark, can you tell us what is going on?
Well, it's been a bit of a long shaggy dog story, but we are launching a defence fund to try to combat the police crackdown, which is happening now. And this was on the back of Kayla here, who unfortunately was stopped by the police and funded and fined quite heavily in points on her licence, which a lot of people around the UK have had experience of. So this is the launch of the fight back, if you like. Yes.
So we've mentioned Kyla. She is someone who we have done some filming with before. You might have seen a previous video about the penalties and the fixed fines that Kyla had gotten for riding an electric scooter on a public road, who has joined us today, who we're going to chat to in a little bit. We just want to talk a bit more about the police crackdown that has been happening nationwide against people riding electric scooters on public roads and also other personal light electric vehicles. So people like Kyla have obviously gotten penalties, 6 points on their licence, fixed fines. And I know that a lot of you at home have actually had the same thing. So many of you have been writing in and telling us your stories, and we think it's a little bit outrageous, really, don't we?
Yeah, I think so. We think we're losing the PR war, and this is pretty important. What started out as very much a kind of a low-key enthusiast thing has become commonplace in all our cities. And like anything new, it's always a bit of a shock. And I think that the case that's being made against is a little bit hysterical. And I think that's culminated in a rather harsh crackdown, which we feel is potentially discriminatory. It targets people who can least afford it, targets probably the most vulnerable in our society, and we think it's a little unfair. So we need your money. We need this to be a grassroots fight back. We want, if you have a look, where's the link? It's at the bottom.
So the link to the page where you can donate money is in the description of this video. So check it out, click it. It is live now.
We need this to be a complete consensus amongst the scooter community, and it needs to be driven by the people riding scooters, like all of us. I mean, that's how we kind of got here, I suppose. And we've got the lovely Jonathan here who's helping us with the campaign, and unfortunately these things aren't cheap. We need to fund it. We've got an initial target of £11,000 that pays for the first couple of stages of the fight back. So we've got 30 days to do it. And we would really like as much help as possible. And the most important thing is this is all of us. And there are going to be things that you don't like about this. Maybe we use the wrong image. It doesn't matter. This is about consensus. It's about us all pulling on the road. All stakeholders, all people using PLEVs. Now's the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We've got to band together. Electroheads, we're here to help along the way with the campaign to make sure that it's being publicised and that we're getting the word out. And I know a lot of you have been affected by this, and I know that you will want to get involved, so please do. Any little bit of money obviously will be really helpful towards the campaign. Please do also make sure to write in and send us some questions. We can't actually answer them today, but we're going to do a follow-up video. So if you do have any questions or anything that we haven't covered that you want to know more about, write in and we will respond to you in the next video. So I think we should actually introduce two guests that we have here today. We did mention, so we've got Kyla here, who works for Personal Electric Transport, who has unfortunately been given, well, it's been threatened 6 points on your licence and fines, and we also have Jonathan Black here from BSB Solicitors.
Hello.
Awesome.
Hello.
So Jonathan is going to help with all the legalities of the campaign. So I think we should start off by just asking you a little bit more about, obviously we know that the police nationwide crackdown has been happening. Could you tell us about the current laws that are in place at the moment around electric scooters? And just fill us in a little bit more on that.
Well, the problem with electric scooters, I mean, many of us obviously don't see there's a problem with electric scooters, which is why you're tuned in. But the real problem legally with electric scooters is that it falls between the sticks. It's neither a motor vehicle nor is it a bicycle. It's not recognised as being a vehicle, and therefore it's unlawful to be driven on the road. If you drive one on the road, the police tend to prosecute you or issue a fixed penalty notice for riding without insurance. Why can't you have insurance? Because the insurers don't recognise electric scooters as vehicles, and therefore they can't be insured. And there's a huge number of electric scooter vehicle users who have been riding for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, without really knowing what the law is. We did a survey a couple of years ago and worked out about 75% of the public were not aware that it was unlawful to ride these electric scooters on the pavements or on the roads. The problem then, what happens is that as we come out of lockdown, more and more people are gaining confidence in terms of travelling into work, and a little more hesitant to travel on the underground, so the market has increased for electric scooters. And as a result of that, the police are deciding to crack down on users. There have unfortunately been a couple of reported accidents, 1 or 2 which have led to fatalities, but that is very rare, few and far between. The big problem is that you can unknowingly leave your home address, travel to work, rucksack on back, find some quiet routes to travelling electric scooter and get stopped by police. You don't know why the police have stopped you, you didn't realise what you were doing was unlawful riding on the road, but the next thing you know is that you've got a fine of £300, your electric scooter impounded, which may have cost you £700, several £100 to purchase, and more crucially, 6 points on your licence. Now you might say, well, I don't have a licence, or I've only just passed my test and I don't really need my licence. Well, that doesn't matter, because the consequences of of getting 6 points on your licence, if you're a new driver, what happens is that you can have your licence taken away and have to take a test again or reapply for your licence. If you're an existing driver, an experienced driver, well, there's your 6 points on your licence, which remains on your licence for 3 years. So any other problems can lead to the totting up procedures and disqualifications. But more crucially than that, it impacts on your insurance premiums. Because when you obviously apply for fresh insurance or renew your insurance, you're asked whether you've had any endorsements on your licence. Yes, I have an endorsement. What for? I'm riding an e-scooter. So there are draconian measures which are in place at the moment to clamp down on e-scooter drivers. There's also a massive disparity, because what we've seen is an increase in in public e-scooter schemes, a bit like the Lime bike schemes, a bit like the Santander schemes, but for e-scooters. Every day you can go on the BBC website and see a new borough is introducing these schemes. What is the difference between the users on those schemes and people like Kyla, who was stopped riding her own e-scooter? Nothing. Kyla is an experienced e-scooter rider. The people on the public schemes aren't experienced, but they are not falling foul of the law because there's a public liability insurance in place to cover their usage. And this is something which we really need the courts to get a grip of, or to grapple with, and to adjudicate as to the fairness of the fairness of treatment, essentially, of the people who are watching this film, watching this footage. and the people that we are getting phone calls in respect of every day reporting that they've been stopped, fined and had their vehicles impounded.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on here, and obviously this has happened to you, Kyla, as well. I mean, I know that we've covered you in a previous video, but some people today watching might not actually know what happened. Can you just quickly fill us in on what happened when you got stopped by the police when you were riding the scooter?
Okay, so this was in February. We were in the middle of lockdown still, and I was just riding to work on the cycle lane, my lane road. So a lorry passed me by. They were looking at me and told me to stop. And obviously, I mean, it's police. You should obey when you're asked to be stopped. So I stopped. We had a little chat. They asked me if I knew it was illegal to ride it. And then they told me they had to fine me and take it away to the pound.
Which is interesting because I think it's part of their policy. They're supposed to give you a warning first. I'm pretty sure that the police procedure on this is to issue a written warning, and that's what they were doing for some time.
Yeah.
So they've effectively just gone like straight for the big guns and gone, right, you know, first strike you're dead kind of thing, which is interesting in itself.
Well, they're treating them like all road traffic offences now. I mean, perhaps there was a policy initially of an initial warning, but now they've taken the view. So, for example, I'm going to create an analogy here. If you're caught in possession of cannabis and you make an admission, you could get a fixed penalty notice, or if you're taken to the police station, you're cautioned. If you are stopped committing a motoring offence, no insurance, there's no such thing as a caution. They have to prosecute because they have to impose points on your licence. So as with these scooters, they're deciding to take the zero tolerance, prosecute straight away, or fixed penalty notice, but either way it leads to points on the licence.
No, it's true because it just goes to show that they are trying to stop people riding e-scooters dead in their tracks, because it's just such a huge punishment for what seems to feel like, you know, it doesn't seem to warrant 6 points on the licence, surely.
No, it doesn't. I mean, you know, I think personally, I mean, this is Jonathan's area, but it feels like they're using existing legislation to fudge the issue in the absence of legislation which is fit for purpose. And for me, this is where we're getting into trouble. And I personally feel we need a little bit of pragmatism here, and cooler heads need to prevail. Simply, if you have a look at the people who are getting caught up in this, it's the very people that you really do not want to be caught up in this. You know, we need to be encouraging people to find ways to get to work which aren't clogging up the roads, which are, you know, for a lot of reasons I find this really difficult personally.
I just want to quickly chime in and say, for people who have joined in not from the beginning, we are making an announcement today that there is going to be a grassroots campaign being launched to essentially fight against some of the prosecutions that are being handed out to people riding on electric scooters, which Mark has been devising with the help of Jonathan here, who is a solicitor, and people like Kyla, who have been given 6 points on their licence and given fines, are going to be trying to fight back against those court hearings. So yeah, I think it's important to talk about, you know, it's not just you that's been experiencing this. We know so many of you at home have also gotten into this situation as well.
We want to hear from you as well.
Yeah, we want to hear from you, yeah. And I think I'll, at the end of this, we haven't put it down now, but in the description we'll pop in your email, Mark. Is that all right with you?
Sure, absolutely.
And please do write in if this has happened to you, because I think the point here is that the more people who are being bounded together to try and, you know, fight this, hopefully the better the result, really.
Yeah.
Who else have we heard from? I mean, can you tell us a few other stories, similar to yours, Kyla, of people who have gotten into this situation? I mean, it's not people who are riding about recklessly on the roads, is it? It's normal, everyday people, and that's the key thing here.
Well, one of the main ones I think was basically a kid.
Ibrahim, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been a couple now,
Yeah.
where you've got kids out on scooters that were basically victims of hit and run. And I think Ibrahim in particular is pretty torrid. I mean, the kid gets mown down by a car behind. He hears the car revving their engine. They literally just punt him off the scooter. Passers-by run up, they're scared for the kids, bleeding on the pavement. They call the ambulance, they call the police. The police turn up and take a statement, and then use the statement to convict him, and don't chase after the guy responsible for the hit and run. There's been a few like that, which, and whilst you can take something like that apart logically and you can understand it, ultimately, the kid's statement's an admission of guilt. Fine. Yes, hit and run drivers are hard to catch, and if there's no CCTV. But I mean, just in terms of the optics, it's awful. I mean, do we really want the UK to become a country like that? Is that where we're really going? And then there's a lot of people like us. I mean, just people trying to get to work, people working in hospitals, people working. A lot of people are just kind of a little bit gobsmacked by this and just thinking, okay, I thought I was doing some good. The government advised me to stay off public transport. I needed to get to work. A lot of people working antisocial hours. They can't get home from work at 1 o'clock in the morning. A lot of women who don't feel safe getting home at 1 o'clock in the morning, which Kyla, you kind of pointed out. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of individuals who, for one reason or another, are really, really shocked by this and feel that this is unfair, to put it mildly. So if you have a story like this, please write to us. Give us a short description of who you are, what happened, and then we'll absolutely get back to you and keep you in touch, and potentially we might use your story in court if it comes to that.
Now, I know that at the moment the funds that need to be raised currently is £11,000. Is that
Correct.
right? Yeah. £11,000. So if you do have any money, obviously click on the link in the description below, and you can find the page where you can donate money. Jonathan, what is going to happen next in terms of your role?
Well, what we're looking for are as many examples of and case studies of people in Kyla's position, in the position of Ibrahim. I had a call yesterday from someone who was stopped on a scooter in East London. He's just started his job working for the post office and is likely to lose that as he is a new driver and
Ibrahim
6 points.
That's right.
It's totally disproportionate, and so we need to pile up these cases so that we can have a selection. We called it a selection box, didn't we, of cases. Not every case identical, but we'd like to have different people from different walks of life, different jobs, and the impact on different people, and then we can take that, and what we're going to do is see what we can devise from that. I'm working with a barrister, James Gray, who has met with Mark and Kayla and Isha, and they are going to, and he and I are going to put our heads together and develop a legal argument that we can take to the Magistrates' Court and possibly to the High Court thereafter. The arguments haven't been formulated in full, but we have an idea as to where we're going, and it's about the disproportionality, the fairness of the way in which these cases are being prosecuted and the impact that it has on those that are prosecuted. I mean, there are, as we've said, thousands of people going about their lawful business using this as a safe means of transport, and it's totally disproportionate that the letter of the law is being used to punish them for doing so. So that's the next stage, and that's only the early stages. Thereon after that sounded a bit legal, sorry about that. After that, we'll be looking at the High Court procedures, and then we'll be obtaining witness statements and taking it further. But we've got to get to that first stage and be sure we can get over that first hurdle, which is what this initial funding is to be used for. It's to be used for my time, for James Gray's time, and the research that we can carry out and interviewing witnesses and potential case studies during this. So if you, as already been said, if you have been stopped if you have been penalised in respect to this, if you want to run an appeal, we would love to hear from you.
We think there's about 100,000 scooters at least out there in the UK. And, you know, so to a certain extent, it's just more important that everybody who kind of saw the potential of lightweight electric transport like an e-scooter and actually took the risk on it and potentially kind of enjoyed using it, it's essential that you, even if it's not financial, I mean, maybe actually we need some kind of petition that people can sign, but, you know, I mean, obviously we need to raise some money, sure, but it's just important that the scale of this is obvious to people looking in. And I'd say the more grassroots it is, the more it's not necessarily industry-led, because I mean, people look at PET and they think, oh well, obviously they're selling e-scooters, so obviously this is something they want to sort of throw their shoulder behind. I mean, when it comes to PET, we were enthusiasts before we formed PET. I mean, this is kind of a mission for us, and we all individually get something out of using the technology, and we're advocates for the technology, just like Electroheads are. But, you know, the suspicion is that this is just, you know, we're doing this for commercial gain. So it's really, really important to us that this is the people fighting back, that this is people like you, just normal people who simply want a better way to get to work, who simply want a more efficient, cost-effective and pollution-free way to get around cities and towns. That's all this is. You know, so the more of you that support this, the better. And, you know, obviously there'll be opportunities for industry stakeholders to help, but I think the driving force and the energy needs to come from we the people, so to speak.
And what's interesting is that no one has consciously imposed or legislated to outlaw e-scooters, just the fact that the existing laws are such that no one's really addressed how to make them lawful, how to make it legal, how to ensure they're insured, and how to ensure they're safe, because we all do know people that have been injured as a result of e-scooter drivers, but then there's no insurance in place to protect the other parties as well, and that's what we need. We need someone to actually take the bull by the horns and actually address it, and address how to make them lawful, rather than not how to make them unlawful, but how to make them lawful, so that, you know, we can have whole communities of people travelling safely and healthily.
Well, that's the most important thing. I mean, no one's advocating, you know, just sort of like lambs to the slaughter. We need, I mean, you know, there is an equivalency with bicycles, which we've pointed out, and Electroheads have pointed out a lot. So we think that current legislation that covers the use of bicycles could, in the interim, cover the use of e-scooters, and let the police focus on antisocial behaviour, get scooters off pavements. Most of the big concerns that I see are scooters being used irresponsibly, and absolutely, we completely agree with that. But we make the point that, you know, you can use cars irresponsibly, you can use wheelie bins irresponsibly, and bicycles irresponsibly. It's not the technology. You know, you can't blame the technology for antisocial behaviour. So we do need legislation, and the government are, in fairness, working on it. Our answer to that is it's too slow. The horse has bolted. There's 100,000 scooters out there, thousands of scooters being used in towns and cities every day, and it needs to be safe, and the police need to be set free to make it safe.
Well, that's just following on. Future legislation doesn't help those people in Kylo's position.
Correct.
And those of you that are looking to support,
which is why we're here.
Yeah, participate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show, I think the more people that have similar stories to Kyla, the better chance this has. And yeah, so please do make sure to write in. We're going to drop Mark's email address in the description after this live stream, so yeah, please do get in touch, and also just throw in some questions about today if you do have any. We can't answer them right now, but we will make another video and try to answer as many as we can. Great. I mean, this is really exciting. I'm really excited about this.
It's taken a while, but I'm glad we're here.
Yeah.
And please, we do want to hear from any stakeholders, people in the industry. If you disagree with any of this, it's really important that rather than just sort of like being a bit kind of like, neggy in the comments, email me. Let's have it out. Let's get some kind of consensus. What we've had in the past is fragmented campaigns.
Yeah.
So Halfords do a petition, or Ben Fox goes out and does a petition, or there's some kind of like half-baked protest. This is the time that all of us need to go shoulder to shoulder and fight back. We need a cohesive PR campaign. And by the way, we're looking to find someone to drive that. So if you think you got the chops, love to hear from you. We're going to try and find some budget for that, and we've got to figure that one out. But yeah, so yeah, it will be a paid role. So if you've got some social media and PR shops, even if you're capable of being a spokesperson, even better. But we are looking for you. Yeah. So yeah, please get in touch with us. And
also, you were thinking about potentially organising an event at some point just to rally everyone together.
Well, this is it. I think a few weekends ago there was supposed to be a PLEV protest in Parliament Square, and it just didn't happen for one reason or another. It all sort of fell a bit flat. So once we've got a bit of traction, let's hope we're going to get a bit of traction and we've got some numbers. I think it will be a good idea to show out, maybe walk the scooters into town. And yeah, obviously we'd like, if you're watching, we'd like the police to help with that and assist. So and also obviously anyone within the police or anybody within some of the groups studying this and the safety groups, would love to hear from you. And also the disabilities charities, we know that you're spending a lot of money lobbying. We've reached out to you a number of times. We'd love to talk to you because there's ways to solve these problems, and I don't think a confrontational approach right now is what we need. So please get in touch.
It would be helpful to also hear from any, probably the smaller, any insurance companies that are interested. It's an insurance company's interest
For sure.
For electric scooter users to be their clients as well, customers. They've got a mass market there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've covered everything, right?
Pretty
Is there
much.
anything else that we need to mention? I think that's pretty good. Awesome. Well, look, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Big things are coming over the next 30 days. There is this campaign happening. Click the link in the description below where you can check out all the information. Donate if you can. Got 30 days to raise £11,000 for legal funds.
And 30 days goes quickly, so please share the link, share this film, there'll be like a lot of social media posts and stuff, and obviously kind of things to follow, so please help. Now is the time, guys. If we want to change this, then now is the time to contribute.
And this is to help the whole community, not just a group of people. Many people will benefit from this in the future.
Yes.
Including people outside the community who don't die of asphyxiation.
Yeah.
Which is a point we should make.
Yes, exactly. All right, well, everyone, thank you so much. Please do make sure to write in. We always want to hear from you. And yeah, let's see how the next 30 days go. See ya.